Hey everyone, this is your host Brian, and welcome to episode 12. It's 2020, hooray! Today's topic, the new Star Wars controversy. How words and phrases like Pudu, Ichuta, Suka, Maclunky, and Michatsa, Bubasa Slimo are not family friendly. In fact, they're actually all horrendous racial slurs. Find out about all that and more on this week's episode of the Pause Button Podcast. Here we are. It's 2020.
Yeah.
We made it. New year. New me.
I just made it today.
So what are you guys gonna do? Over here we've got the sunshine.
The sunshine, gender neutral.
Oh, new year, new you, huh?
Maybe.
What are you gonna do to make yourself better this year?
Try to cut down on pop, I guess. I don't know. I'm constantly fluctuating in weight recently, somewhere around 210 to 200, and I would like to break down and go to like 190 because that's the average for someone who's 6 foot tall.
Yeah. I was really expecting a joke answer, but that was well thought out.
Oh, I thought you were being serious.
No,
I'm caring about me.
Yeah, why don't you?
God, no.
Jesus.
Why? Yeah, over here we got puts the different in indifferent. Joey.
Yep, that's me.
What are you doing this year to make yourself better?
Well, I guess I can't use working out. I'm gonna say, actually, I've been thinking about signing up for improv classes lately.
Dude.
Down in Chicago. So, thinking about maybe doing it at the IO Theater. So,
wow.
We'll see how it goes.
All right. Improv's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think it will give me maybe a better emotional range, and also possibly, I think it'll just give me like better confidence maybe and make me better on my feet. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm absolutely terrified right now at the prospect, but hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah, no, so what I guess since I'm Brian. What we're doing is serious. So I guess I want to take a little bit better care of myself, not do so much. But you mentioned improv lessons, and I want to add that in too. So
are you fucking?
I want to do everything, man.
Kiss
I just
my
don't want it to end. Like there's so much to learn and do. Like I do open mic nights. I play in a community band. There's just so much, and I just want to,
Well, if you do it, we could be little improv buds. But
yeah,
I mean, in terms of you not doing so much, it's only going to put more on your plate.
Yeah, that's what Brian needs. The guy who's constantly stretched thin is more stuff to be doing.
Running over to Lincoln Park for a 7 p.m. class after you got out of school.
Dude barely shows up to D&D, and he's like, "Let me get more stuff so I can't do D&D."
It's not intentional at all. No.
Yeah.
But it's 2020, and we got something special for you today. Over here, we have
Nick Lyons.
Hi, Nick.
Hi.
Our very first guest.
Nick, what are you going to do to make yourself better this year? There's a lot of things you could do.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to focus on just eating and sleeping as much as I possibly can.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Staying alive.
Staying alive.
Those are
maybe
two essential things.
Here could be a twist to that.
What's that?
Every once in a while, you have a little water.
Not just a little bit, not too much now. I don't want to really. I got to really make sure I push the
I heard
diabetes.
you could die if you drink too much water.
Well, if you hold it.
So, I mean, careful with that.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to not urinate in the new year. I mean, that would be kind of hard to.
I mean, you didn't include it in your list. You said eating and sleeping. You didn't say urinating, so.
You know.
Maybe it just means drink less coffee.
How about pooping?
No, twice the amount of coffee. Twice the amount.
All right. So welcome to the Pause Button Podcast. Every other week, your 4 favorite hosts and sometimes some guests will discuss a pop culture topic, usually related to movies, music, shows, or video games, and we'll do our darndest to entertain you along the way. You can expect surprising facts, funny jokes, deeply depressing monologues, and of course, unrelated witty banter. So sit down, shut up, and open your ears. It's time to hit pause. What are we talking about today?
So we are taking a look at a film series near and dear to everyone in the world, so much that they like to all yell and harass at each other.
The Hunger Games.
I was going to talk about Star Wars. But
Oh,
I volunteer as tribute.
I rewatched The Hunger Games multiple times for this.
That's as dumb as PETA in the Rock.
Yeah. Oh, PETA. If we ever actually do a Hunger Games episode.
Yeah, no, I've never seen anything other than the first one. But no, yeah, it's Star
Wait,
Wars.
seriously?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I mean,
not worth
they're
your.
good. I mean,
they're
they're
okay.
entertaining.
It's okay.
So did I just
For a
turn
guy
this
who
into
picked
a-
Jennifer Lawrence,
Stop.
he might as well.
I think I just turned
Stop
it into a
talking
Hunger
about
Games
Hunger
episode. What do you guys think of part 1 Mockingjay, you know? So Star Wars, it's the perfect time. Rise of Skywalker came out. Baby Yoda's all over the place.
yeah.
Baby Yoda.
Yeah, it's a good time. So far, this movie that just came out, only 2 people at Sable have seen it. I am not one of them, though I am seeing it later today.
Me too.
And it so far has not resulted in people getting ready to murder each other like The Last Jedi. So far.
Yeah.
It did that. It definitely did that. You know, we won't get into spoilers of Rise of Skywalker on this, so you don't have to worry about that. We felt like this would be a good one to watch. Get yourself ready to see it, or if you're just feeling the Star Wars mood, you know. But since Nick and I have seen this movie, Nick, what are your non-spoilery thoughts?
I have questions. I have questions about the plot arc. I was entertained. I thought it was a good movie. In terms of some things, I felt they could have done a better job of getting more into the detail of the background of the story. I mean, this is the 9th. It's episode 9. It's the 9th story of, you know, our saga, and I think
The Skywalker
The
saga.
Skywalker
The
saga.
end.
I'm
The
sorry.
permanent end.
And I really think there's some things that, you know, has been established in the universe that they should have addressed, but they really didn't talk about. So that's just my thoughts. Overall, I liked it. You know, I'm a nerd. I'm gonna love it anyway. So, but that's my kind of view on it.
All right, yeah, that's well stated. I completely understand your viewpoint. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a fun ride, and it's a really good way to wrap up the Skywalker saga. There are definitely some things along the way where it's like mistakes, but
Yeah.
overall, I was really happy with it, and I the way I like to think of it is like if I was asked like, hey, you're gonna wrap up Star Wars, like the whole Darth Vader, like all that, it's gonna get wrapped up in this one movie. What would you do? And I don't know. I mean,
I
what
would do
JJ
some
did,
things differently. I don't know.
what JJ did, I liked. I would have changed some stuff, but overall, fun movie. Definitely recommend seeing it in theaters. I'm seeing it the second time today. I'm hoping to see it at least 4 times in theaters. So. What?
Joey's just on this.
That's it's understandable. I know. I mean, I think it's something people really get into. It's just funny because you always have these movies that you see so many times in theaters. Like, I personally cannot give that much money to a movie in theaters.
Hey, movies are disgustingly cheap these days.
What?
It's
Disgustingly? I mean,
in a good way. Like you go to
Well-
Marcus Theaters and it's $5 on a
Oh,
Tuesday.
well, see, yeah, you always go on Tuesdays though. I don't.
Even AMC has $5 Tuesdays.
I just
Yeah,
go whenever it hits
They're
me.
disgustingly cheap on Tuesdays.
yes.
Every other
Every
day,
other
it's like
day.
18 to 20 bucks.
Yeah. All right. I did pay. I think it was 22. But also the experience is unlike it was before with the reclining chairs, the amount of personal space you get, the Dolby Atmos sound, and the ultra screen thing that's at the Marcus. Like, it's so cool to experience that.
True.
Yeah. So you know that's it's the one of the Star Wars things going on. What do you guys think of The Mandalorian?
Oh man, really enjoying it. Super episodic in nature. Very. If you've watched any of the Star Wars animated series, like
Yes.
Clone Wars or Rebels,
yes.
they are. It's very much that kind of structure. So that might be something that not everyone likes. I know that there's a lot of people that were hoping for it to either be darker, which I don't think there was ever a real chance of that since it's on Disney Plus, or we're hoping for more like story arc based, like very much a story heavy series. And I think it's pretty clear that's not what they were going for. Maybe they could have done a better job of marketing that was going to be the case, but I'm having a lot of fun with the series nonetheless.
Right. I think Pedro Pascal and you know, even characters like the client, like Werner Herzog, are doing a fantastic job really portraying characters, I feel, in the Star Wars universe in an appropriate way and not pushing the envelope to the point where it's like unbelievable. I definitely feel immersed inside of it.
Yeah.
I'm really happy at the direction that it's going. I'm fully caught up, which was episode what's the most recent episode?
7?
7.
Yeah,
So doing the
7 or
podcast
8,
is
yeah.
after episode 7. But I really am a big fan about the implications of actions that are starting to accrue on the characters and the development that they're starting to be exposed to. I think it's fantastic.
This episode is coming out after this first season is done, so hopefully, episode 8 isn't like a crash and burn kind of thing.
And the 2 best episodes of the season have been directed by Deborah Chow, who is going to be the showrunner for the Obi-Wan series.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, this most recent episode and episode 3 were Deborah Chow.
Do we have a date for like a year?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I was trying to find
'Cause
out.
I was thinking about that. I was like, so, episode 9 came out, Mandalorian's wrapping up. We don't know what's next. As a Marvel fan, I'm used to like, oh yeah, 3 years from now I get to see this movie in theaters. But like Star Wars is like, something's gonna happen.
See, as a Star Wars fan, I'm kind of okay with taking a break sometimes.
Slowing down a
I
little.
think it's okay, completely okay to just take it easy, like ride the tide out a little bit and then come back with something, invest time into doing it appropriately.
No, I mean that makes sense. We were talking about this last night a little bit, but I feel like you got to compare Marvel and Star Wars. They're both like Disney properties that got picked up and are like just destroying box office records and all that. And Marvel started with a clear vision from the beginning, and they just kind of went on. Star Wars has this issue of like it's built on 3 movies from 30 years ago, and everything has to tie back into that. So everything's like contrived, and even how they release the movies 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. Like, all right, like it's they have more work to do because they're not telling it chronologically. Like it's not an easy path for them.
I hope the next one is episode 17. They're just going there, like right off the bat, and they're like, "We coming back."
Like 80 years from now.
Yeah.
When we do an episode 10, after episode 13.
It's like the opening crawl is going to change from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away to just a few months ago in a galaxy.
I was watching a review of Star Wars movies recently, and it was possibly the most Star Wars discussion ever, where one of the people on the podcast referred to it as the opening scroll. And then everyone's all like, no, it's the crawl. That's what it's called. And they argued for a little bit about what to call the words going across the screen. And if there's anything more Star Wars than that, I don't know. Like,
it's the crawl.
See? He's got a strong
I was
opinion
gonna say
on
it would
this.
be the scroll.
That's not the scroll is a piece of paper.
Whoa, we about to have an argument down in here.
See? Like, there's...
No, but it crawls on the screen. You see you're slow. It's not fast. I'm not reading it.
Like a spider. It crawls with its legs. Oh, wait. Joey,
Yeah.
I believe you prepared...
Yeah, so for this episode, I just thought it would be something fun to kind of like warm us up with maybe a little bit, get Star Wars on the, top of the brain with some Mary Fuck kills that are Star Wars themed. So I came up with a few of those. So each one of these will have one Star Wars character inside the mix, and some of them are themed either by like rhyming or just either themed by what kind of character is involved. So
I've never been more excited in my entire life.
yeah, so okay, I'll throw
Sounds
the
interesting.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. If people hate them, I'll never do this again. I'll just leave the podcast.
I was gonna say we would ask you to leave.
But okay, so the first one that we've got is Jabba the Hutt, the Pharaoh Boy King, King Tut, and a cashier at Pizza Hut.
What does this cashier look like?
You don't. I mean, you decide whatever you think a cashier at Pizza Hut's gonna look like.
I guess I'll fuck the cashier, marry King Tut, and kill Jabba.
That sounds good. I think that's a good order. That's probably what I would do.
I don't know. I feel like if you marry Jabba, you're gonna get a lot of the things that came with it, including the possible wealth.
I feel like he might kill his spouses.
You think? I know. I feel like he would at least keep them.
I mean, we know from the Clone Wars animated movie that he has a son, but we never see the spouse or lover.
That's because he takes good care of her.
Well, no, probably not.
They're away from his business.
I bet he ate. I bet, and we also never see the son again, so I bet he ate both of them.
I don't know. I mean, like, can you imagine just like walking around Jabba's palace? That's where you live. You go out on that like awesome like little like yacht thing and take a scroll out into the or
And
crawl
then fall
out
in the
into
Sarlacc pit
You won't fall.
or the Rancor cage.
Like I said, he takes care of you. You get to watch the Rancor eat people. I'm marrying Jabba. I'm gonna kill King Tut and I'm gonna fuck whoever's working at Pizza Hut. Give me that pizza,
Yeah. Might get a free pizza out.
Yeah. You never know.
Okay. So the next one that we'll do Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ashley Tisdale from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and our favorite HR rep, Toby from The Office.
All right.
Clearly, we kill Toby.
Yeah, we all.
You can't argue that.
That's I wanted to hear
The
everybody say they would kill
hardest
Toby.
question was,
So-
we're not going to do it.
There's a, I'm unsure of which I would rather, if I'd rather fuck Ashley Tisdale or marry Obi-Wan Kenobi, or the other way around. But I think that's what I'll do is I'll fuck Ashley Tisdale and marry Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan, I mean, I feel like he'd be such a caring husband.
That's what I felt. Pat's reading my mind on these.
I feel like he'd be pretty loyal. Like there would be no like.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He would be with you forever.
Would he? Because he's not allowed.
That didn't stop his romance with Duchess Satine, who he was planning on leaving the Jedi Order for until she was murdered at the hands of Darth Maul. Spoilers for the Clone Wars.
It's a fantastic series. We really recommend it.
I remember he had a love interest in the old canon too. But
Her name was like Sarai or something. She was a Jedi apprentice, if you read the Jedi Apprentice books.
yeah.
And she got killed during the Clone Wars by a bounty hunter.
Damn.
R.I.P.
Interesting stuff.
R.I.P.
Next one we'll do is Luke Skywalker, Ranger Cordell Walker from Walker, Texas Ranger, a.k.a. Chuck Norris, and Paul Walker. Don't insult the
These
dead.
are amazing.
I'm going to kill Chuck Norris.
Wow.
Marry...
You think you really can kill
I
him?
don't think
though?
he can.
Marry Luke Skywalker. And what was the other one?
Paul Walker.
Oh, definitely fuck Paul Walker.
Oh, I mean, he's beautiful.
Yeah, what a handsome man.
See, my order on this was I would kill Luke Skywalker.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I would fuck Walker, Texas Ranger.
Can you say that again, but with a little more emphasis?
I'm gonna
All
fuck
right,
him.
Joey. We
No,
get
see,
it.
you're not gonna fuck Walker Texas Ranger. He's gonna fuck you. Like,
That's
No,
true.
I think-
that's actually fair.
I feel like Walker would be a good spouse. I feel like from the show. I mean, I watched a fair amount of Walker
Okay,
Texas Ranger.
okay.
I feel like it would be okay. I feel like I might have to. I don't know. I feel like Luke's pretty whiny. I might have to.
He's only whiny in the first one and the last one.
That's true.
Eh,
That's true.
yeah.
He's not whiny in the ones in between. Well,
Tasha station for power converters.
You remember when he sat down among the rebel, what's it, pilots that have been doing it for years, and they got told to do this impossible thing? Like, that's crazy. He's like, oh, that's fine. I used to shoot rats at home. Like,
Womp rats.
you don't know what you're
That's
doing
not much
here.
bigger.
Like, shut up. You're new here. I've been fighting TIE fighters for like 8 years. What you?
All right, so the next one that we'll do is Ray, Anne Hathaway, and a bag of Frito-Lays.
These
God,
things is not like the other.
this is
I'm gonna kill the Lays.
Oh.
Like, eat them?
like,
Like,
eating that.
stop us.
By
and
eating
dunk
them.
those Lays.
Then fuck Ray, because I feel like she'd be a horrible wife.
why? That's so
She
strong.
needs her independence. She's never gonna be time at home. She's never gonna spend time with me.
I feel like I never.
She's gonna be spending too much time having force visions with Kylo Ren,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
having her conversations with him, and he's gonna be shirtless, and Adam Driver's better looking than me.
And then I'm gonna have to go
Can't
on
do it.
Maury
I
and
can't do
prove
it.
that she is.
Oh, come
it's
on.
Too much.
Imagine like going home one
So I'll
night,
marry-
she's like, wear the high-waisted pants tonight, right up to your nipples.
I'm definitely marrying Anne Hathaway in that situation. Can't
Yeah, I think it's a good
she? At
idea.
least she
Yeah.
doesn't have a force connection with a better looking guy.
And she's got good cooking videos that she posts on Facebook sometimes.
I had no
What?
idea.
Yeah, that's not bad. You should look into it.
Wow. Okay. All right, and then this will be the last one. So, Princess Leia, Princess Zelda, and Anne Hathaway again, but from the Princess Diaries.
Ah.
Huh.
In that situation, I'm gonna kill Anne Hathaway, marry Zelda, and fuck Princess Leia.
Nice.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna kill Zelda.
I mean,
And
it's-
you
like-
should have. If you can only see the look I'm getting from the panel. I'll let you talk, Maloney.
well, I mean, like, is like destiny always going to happen? Like, if I marry Princess Leia, are we gonna have a son that stabs me on a bridge? Like, does that just have to happen?
I don't think so, but I think you'll probably find out that you're her brother at some point.
Oh, well, Why is it even an option? Like, okay, I have to kill her then. I have to kill her because I don't want to.
Oh, that's not real, Brian. I'm just messing around. Do what you want.
Oh, this isn't real.
Oh.
I think that ends the Mary Fuck Kills, and we can get into the real meat of this podcast.
All right. So I thought it would be fun for us to talk about our favorite random Star Wars character, the guy that's just in the background. Like I've never seen her there before. Like that alien looks pretty weird, or I've always loved them since I was a kid, and I don't know why. What do you guys got? What background Star Wars character?
Jektono Porkins.
Dude,
from A New Hope.
His name is Jack Tono?
Jack J-E-K, Tono Porkins. The chubby Red Six.
Oh, man, good
ends up getting killed at the Battle of Yavin as one of the members of Red Squadron. I don't know why I love this guy. Maybe because he is so heavyset and he's got his nice chin beard, and I feel like that's his all these like guys that are like crazy into Star Wars and getting pissed online imagine themselves as Luke Skywalker, but they're all just Jack Toto Porkins.
Oh my god, yes.
His death scream is great.
Yes. I mean, it just even. I mean, I feel like also that the whole sequence in 4 when they're making the assault on the Death Star, I feel like especially his character was like for some reason one of the only ones that actually wasn't like shaking in the cockpit. Like,
yeah,
I mean, he filled up the entire screen for that moment, and it's just
and a more inspiring. But he kind of shows that like heroes come in all shapes and sizes, and it didn't matter. Like he was still apparently a skilled enough pilot that the Rebel Alliance chose him.
I don't know if he's a hero. He died pretty quick in that battle.
He survived long enough into the rebellion and was one of the people. He also gave his life. Are you saying soldiers that fight in Iraq and Afghanistan that gave their lives were not heroes, Brian?
All right, this has been a fun week of the episode. We'll catch you guys. Tom, what's our next topic?
We are not pressing pause.
What's someone else's?
Hey, I'll try to follow up after that. So I have to go with 2 because I can't make up my mind.
No,
of course I know that. I know what they both are.
So hold on. So it's Jabba's band. We got Max Rebo, the blue elephant, playing the circular keyboard thing, just banging along and having the time of his life, along with his trusty oboe player. Something.
I know who it is.
The like humanoid anus, Droopy McCool.
Yeah, Droopy McCool.
You guys know what Droopy McCool looks like?
No.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Go Google really quick and just open up Droopy McCool. He's commonly known by his stage name, Snit. He's a male Kinotak and the lead horn player of the Max Rebo band. He looks like an anus. His face is an anus.
An anus. The way you said anus there.
His body releases a vanilla-like smell.
Oh my god, that's a whole butthole.
Right?
Yes.
That's
With
maybe
his
a
nose,
hemorrhoid or
like,
two in there.
He's got no eyes.
How do you think George Lucas was like, yeah, that's the vision I have?
But hold on.
That's definitely it.
Do you remember a dog from the old cartoons with a little bit of red-orange hair, tuft of hair on his head, and a long droopy face and black ears?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember his name?
It's Droopy.
Droopy.
Droopy McPoodle,
Oh, really?
who came
Oh
before
my
Droopy
God.
McCool. So they just took Droopy McPoodle, and they're like, what if his name was Droopy McCool, but he had an anus instead of a dog face?
This makes sense now because George Lucas had to have been, we just need more aliens in this. Oh, and he probably was watching while he's eating his cereal, the Droopy Poodle. And then,
What if that dog had an anus on its face?
And played an instrument.
The fact that they both died and went down with the rest of like Jabba's crew, and
Droopy McPoodle did?
I believe they were all on that raft thing. They were playing.
I didn't know he was in Star Wars. Droopy McPoodle.
Droopy McCool, whatever. It's here to
now we're gonna
criticize.
press pause.
What do you got, Joey?
So I was actually gonna go with the same thing. I was gonna go with Max Rebo because I just love. He's such a. I wish that they could do like a whole little series on him.
Right?
You know,
The
imagine
next Disney Plus show.
Yeah, imagine him as a baby. If you did Baby Max Rebo, that would kill me.
It's like baby tunes, like Tiny Toons, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's just Max Rebo and Yoda just playing around as babies.
Yeah, I just think he's adorable little blue elephant. Love the guy. So that's what I'm going
Just
with.
banging along on his keyboard thing. Just,
Yeah, he's just doing his thing, you know?
yeah.
I think speaking of characters that are just doing their thing, I think I would choose Yub Nub, who
Yub.
essentially we only have for like less than 30 seconds on screen in episode 6, but we're going to keep him inside the rest of the franchise going forward. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think he did a good job. Didn't even question why Lando was wearing Han's clothes. Perfectly okay.
I really wanted
Did you say Yub Nub?
Yub Nub.
Isn't it Nyen Nub?
Well, you know.
Yub Nub's the name of the Ewok song.
Yeah, Nub Nub's the song.
Yub Nub.
Let's put it on the
Yub,
record right here.
yub,
Nick
yub.
is not a real Star Wars
They
fan.
found him on the streets.
Nyen Nub.
Can we gotta talk about him really quick because he's in he's in Force Awakens and Last Jedi, right? Or is he just in Last Jedi? He's in both.
You telling me he's not in Rise of Skywalker?
Well, I didn't want to spoil it whether he is or isn't.
Well, you just included.
because I didn't mention that movie. So
All right.
how is it that he looks worse in the new movies than he did in 1983?
Because he stands up and we see how big his head is now.
It's enormous.
He's got like a weird tan going. It's like
It looks so fake and terrible. It's just like it doesn't fit in.
because he's not in light. He's not in darkness anymore. He's not in the darkness of space. He's not
I think,
sitting
I think
down.
what happened was like Abrams was like, I did not make that. And I want everybody to know that for the record.
What a good character, man. What a good character.
Fantastic.
So, I did a little bit of research on this, and you mentioned George Lucas, and everybody likes to make fun of George Lucas, right? Because he did the prequels, and there's some stuff there. But
Good stuff.
huh?
What?
Huh? So, one of the things I found about was when they were doing The Empire Strikes Back, and George Lucas wanted to put the credits at the end. The Writers Guild and the Directors Guild were like, no, like credits go in the beginning of movies. You can't do that. And he said, I'm doing it anyway. So they kicked him out of the guilds, and they fined him and the director of Episode 5. And he paid for both of their fines because it was his decision.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I was like, and also he paid for Episode 5 almost, I think it was all on his own. He took out a huge loan and all the profits from A New Hope and just threw it at this movie because he wanted no other
And now he
input.
sold the rights to Star Wars for $1 billion.
Yeah, yeah. But
He's doing just fine.
I do want to mention when Empire Strikes Back became what it is, he made so much money that he gave everybody bonuses. He was like, "This is so much money. You guys earned more than I gave you originally."
I think a lot of that also, is to Irvin Kershner's work, as going on for that project. I think he really pulled that movie to the next step. And I think with George Lucas's guidance, I think it really kind of helped things go the right way.
Yeah, so like I get like creatively he's made some terrible, awesome decisions, but also some terrible ones. But he seems like a nice guy. I mean, like that's pretty cool. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, he had a great vision. He didn't always know how to fully, bring it to reality. And from a lot of what I've seen from even the original trilogy, it was a movie kind of made in the edit, and he got a lot of help along the way from people. And he deserves all the respect in the world for coming up with such an amazing franchise and this amazing universe that he's created. But it's important to remember that there were very much other people involved that helped make Star Wars the powerhouse that it's become.
Yeah, I wish we knew the names of like the costume designers and the guys who came up with like how to shoot the Death Star, like the little plastic things on a ping pong table that you believe is in space. Like that's the one thing that hit me is Pat and I have been rewatching the films to lead up to Rise of Skywalker, and one of the things that hit me when we were watching A New Hope was just kind of like. Nothing else was like this. Like it sounded insane back in the day, and everything they did is just like unheard of. Now it's just like a precedent. Like yeah, it's a sci-fi, but like they didn't have like everything he did was at new ground, and it was done so well. And I don't know, it blew my mind the more I thought about it. We don't get to have that experience because we weren't around when these movies came out. They're just like stuck in our brains. It's like yeah, Star Wars, Darth Vader's his father, whatever. Like. I don't know. It's interesting to think about if it was coming out as new.
Yeah.
I still feel like even when I watched them as a kid, I mean, I always had the VHS boxes.
Did with the silver ones or the gold ones that got touched up?
No, neither of those before that even came out.
Oh,
Like
so
the black box with every one of
the black box. Yes, you had the original.
Yes, I had the original with. I think it was like only one post like edit where they changed one of Jabba's songs or
No,
in
not that
episode
one.
6. But it wasn't the bad change; it was the good change. There's like 3 different like reiterations.
Really?
Yeah. There's We'll go into that a little bit later. But but I think watching them as a kid, I think I still had that same effect when when I found out, because I think it's just they do such a good job of really making a story, and you get so immersed inside the story that by the time you actually get everything revealed to you, it's still a big reveal no matter what age you are. And I think that's what makes Star Wars transcend different generations, because even if you tell it again and again, it's still something that somebody gets out of the first time they hear it. But
I don't know. I completely disagree.
this has been great. I'm just gonna.
So I had a couple things I wanted to ask everyone.
Yeah.
What is everyone's actual favorite Star Wars character?
Oh.
Long drawn out silence.
like favorite character or favorite favorite major character, or just any character?
Any character. Your favorite your actual favorite Star Wars character.
I think
tough.
I'm probably gonna go with Yoda.
Yeah.
Yoda's always been. I mean, he's just such a cute little green guy, and I mean, he's so knowledgeable, and I feel like in the movies he's put on as a guy that like Luke is supposed to look up to, obviously, but it makes you look up to him as someone who views it. He's just like, he is the embodiment of the Force to me.
And it's interesting that in obviously A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, he's a puppet, and they put so much emotion into that puppet.
Yeah.
Like it's like you can really feel like the pain he's going through, and
Yeah.
when he talks about the Jedi and the like his regrets about how things are going, and his worry about where Luke is headed on
Yeah.
the path of the light or the dark side.
I love when he flips the switch, when he goes and you're like hitting R2 with the stick and like, like when he flips from that to like he's not even looking at Luke back in his hut, and he's like,
I can't join him.
yeah. Like he just talks to like himself. I think he's talking to Obi-Wan there, but like he's just like completely just like, all right, no, this is, I don't need to act like this anymore. Like this is, and you just immediately get the sense of this is like a perfect old wise man thing.
Yeah,
You know? Is that influenced by Baby Yoda at all? I know it's not Yoda.
No, it's not influenced by Baby Yoda and Yoda. I keep them separate in my mind.
Okay.
Nick, what's your favorite Star Wars character?
That's tough for me. I think like major character, I'm gonna go with Obi-Wan. But I think I like because I'm making my list of like some pretty honorable mentions, and I'm a big fan of Admiral Piet was a character I feel that we never really got much of a story from, but from the little times that we did see him on screen, I felt he did have a big impact on the franchise. I feel like he was one of the only officers that Darth Vader had under his belt that actually lived to the to the end and didn't get choked by Vader. So I thought there's something more I wanted to know from that character. I think Obi-Wan is still my number one because he's been around the longest, but he's been consistent with his development throughout the years. And you start from watching episode 1, and he's kind of young and spunky, to you see him age and learn what his masters were talking about were helpful, and so he starts to try to use that when he teaches Luke when he's older, and you can see all those changes, and and all the the way Obi-Wan is, he gets kind of he seems hardened over time, even like watching from the Rebels TV show. You see like Obi-Wan's character change from this kind of happy-go-lucky just doing adventures with Anakin to someone who's seen a lot of things, and I think it takes a lot for somebody to go through all those changes but still see the positive end goal of it. And I think that's why it makes Obi-Wan such a inspirational character, I think, from the franchise, because he, no matter what happens, there's still a light at the horizon he still sees, so I think that's pretty. That's why I chose him.
And for Ewan McGregor to just pick up after Alec Guinness and like reverse, because we know the end goal, and to start from like where he was in Phantom Menace and to build that character up so that it's believable to see how he would go into.
Oh, it's totally believable.
He did an amazing job.
It's like you could totally see like episode 1 was like his angst phase, and like the way he argues with Qui-Gon at times, and like and I think like you start to see like an understanding of growth. I think is just such a powerful.
I mean, he wasn't completely wrong. He's like, I don't want to take this boy. He's going to kill me on the Death Star. Like,
yeah. we'll say Jedi Visions helped in that.
I'm really looking forward to see what they do with his Disney Plus series.
Super
As they
looking
fill in
forward to
that
it.
gap between 3 and 4.
I really think they're gonna redo the scene. Was it in Clone Wars or Rebels where Darth Maul visits him?
Rebels. I would love it if they
That would be
They're
if
gonna
they adapted
they
that to
have
live
to.
action.
Like,
I don't know. I'm not sure if it would make much sense to them if he just suddenly walks up to some like a boy Jedi. And
I kind of don't want them to redo it.
well, he already randomly showed up at the end of Solo out of nowhere. Like, hey, it's Darth Maul, and you're like, sure. If I haven't been watching the shows, I don't know he's alive. But
I don't know how random it actually was. I mean, because if you were consistently watching like the TV shows, I feel like it wasn't that random in the big picture. But that being said, like you've had to have watched the shows
that's
to
like
have an
20%
understanding
of the Star Wars audience.
right what he's actually doing, and you know I think that's what really kind of like the reason why I'm a big Star Wars fan is because of the immersion of everything that's a part of between the shows and the movies together.
Like, this is like me watching like Endgame, and then like Thanos is like, all right, now it's time for the end battle, and fucking Ironmonger comes out. He's like, Tony, like he's dead. Like, what? Is he alive from something I did, like a book that came out? Like, I don't know. Pat, this is the first time on the podcast that
You didn't answer, by the way.
exactly. I did not I was not given any notice, so I am my brain's going a mile a minute here.
All right, so my favorite Star Wars character is Mara Jade from the Expanded Universe
Solid
stuff.
choice.
She is a character introduced in Timothy Zahn's Thrawn trilogy.
God, I should have put Thrawn, man. I should have had Grand Admiral.
She was one of Palpatine's dark side assassins, and she sort of is like influenced by Palpatine post-death to try to hunt down Luke, but is forced to ally with him consistently. And then throughout the Expanded Universe, you sort of see the relationship develop. She trains as a Jedi eventually. She marries Luke, and they have kids, and then she ends up getting killed by Han and Leia's son, who turned to the dark side. That happened there too. But unfortunately, she no longer exists in canon, which is pretty disappointing for me. But you know, still have the stories with her that I had.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, that's cool. I do have one, but okay, for reasons that I won't explain, but are not due to me being unable to make a decision. It's not due to that. I have my decision made, but I'm not going to say my favorite character for reasons that I will not say until later.
So Rise of Skywalker stuff.
Maybe. So so my second favorite character is Han Solo.
Oh, nice. Oh, I should have
Just how like everything that he goes through, the journey that character has, how well Harrison Ford is acting as him, and the lines, the humor, just like the charisma of it all, how perfect he is in Force Awakens. It's exactly how you would think Han would be at that age. And I don't know. As a kid, I always liked Obi-Wan and Han. Like even when I was like 10 watching these movies.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he has great character arc throughout the 4 films he's in.
Yeah.
yeah, and I just recently found out about the whole like Han shoots first scene and all that. It wasn't even that Han shot first. It was that he just shoots Greedo.
Yeah.
Greedo doesn't even get a shot off.
He just like point blank, like, I know this guy's coming for me. But now Greedo's all like, McClunky. McClunky.
How did you guys think I did with reading those random terms at the beginning
You
there?
did a good enough job.
I stumbled a little bit on the one that Sebulba says, but Anakin says Sebulba.
It's definitely Anakin.
You forgot Carabas though. Carabas is a good one.
What's
That's a
that
Star
from?
Wars Rebels one.
Ah.
But it also gets yelled in Rogue One by a
does.
random alien.
Does it really?
Yeah.
I that's the tasteful stuff that they do when they like that side shit. We're gonna throw that in there as little sprinkles on the top.
Rogue One has a lot of random references to Rebel stuff.
What's his name's in it, right?
Steve Blum voices like a bunch of the stormtroopers.
No, the
Like
little
he does in
R2 guy.
And Chopper.
Oh, and
Chopper.
Chopper, and General
Chopper.
Syndulla, and you can see the Ghost.
Yes.
The ghost.
That's the name of the ship.
Oh, okay. Oh wait, didn't you say that the Mandalorian ship is in the Rise of Skywalker trailer?
I believe so. Someone did point that out.
I
if
didn't.
remember
I
correctly.
had to look again for it. I don't know if I saw it.
I don't recall. I have to see it when I see it a second time. I'll look out for it.
Yeah, there's always.
And it could always just be the same type of ship. It isn't necessarily the Razor Crest.
That's true. That's true. Because this is set pretty far afterwards in the timeline. So
Yeah, like good almost 30 years, I want to say.
yeah, it's supposed to be like 30 years after Return of the Jedi. Speaking of Return of the Jedi, I guess, I don't know, that's a terrible transition. So we're going to rank the movies now. We're going to rank Star Wars universe, put in a list. We are not including Rise of Skywalker since Nick and I are the only ones who have seen it.
We're not gonna go through each individual movie and talk about the
No,
strengths.
no, we don't need to
and
do
stuff,
that.
right?
You can just say that
That might be something interesting to do on another episode one day.
Oh yeah, there's so much with Star Wars. We can have an episode on each movie.
Agreed.
That's our 2020 plan. Just go through all the movies.
Yeah.
That's all episodes of the Pause Button podcast going forward are just about each individual movie. While I just talk over Joey and Brian and Devontae when he's here.
You can still hear us in the background though, just like we're having our own conversation.
You're doing an actual episode,
and you're
but
just close to the mic, like, and then he went to the. Like,
It's just
Here's
Pat
why I love
retelling the
Judd
movie.
Porkins.
If you get that, we get to do all 22, 23 MCU movies in episode each.
I mean, sure, I'm not gonna dislike that.
All right, there's your 2020 plan. We're gonna do all Star Wars, all of MCU, and then Hunger Games too, right? Bringing that back.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
Avatar
absolutely.
was pretty good. We could throwback.
Who wants to be the brave person to go first?
I can do it.
All right, Pat, what you got?
Do we want me to do from lowest to highest?
Oh,
or
yeah.
highest to lowest?
Lowest to highest, yeah.
Okay. So my least favorite Star Wars movie is Attack of the Clones by far. Worst dialogue.
Storms are brewing.
And
Oh man.
really not a fan of the romance. Then it's a bit of a jump up to Phantom Menace, which has
Really?
some horror. Jar Jar's horrible, but it's also just a boring ass movie.
It's so boring.
Are you kidding me? All right.
Until Duel of the Fates.
Yeah.
Then you're like, what the hell is? Why is this in here?
The pod racing was actually not too bad.
Duel of the Fates is when you go to the.
You're correct. That's not too bad. But there's also a good hour, an hour on Coruscant where there's just like the vote of no confidence on Chancellor
that was
Valorum.
fantastic. Oh, that's the start.
It's
of
good.
It.
It's good world building. It's not a good movie. So after that, the Clone Wars animated movie, which is just 3 episodes of the Clone Wars stitched together, and gives us a poor introduction to Ahsoka Tano, who ends up being a fantastic character overall, but is really annoying in that original one, as she calls Anakin Sky Guy. And like Anakin calls her Snips, and he calls her Snips throughout the whole
That's really
series,
close to
but-
Droopy McCool's stage name, Snip.
Yeah. Yeah, that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not a great movie. But Clone Wars is a great series, though. After that, it is a kind of a tie. I kind of switched them off a lot. Revenge of the Sith and Solo. Revenge of the Sith.
You have Solo at the same level as Revenge of the
Yes.
Sith. I find that very
two
surprising.
very different types of movies. Solo,
Yeah,
I think, does
yeah,
a
they are.
decent job as a heist comedy movie, but I think it over-explains the stuff involving Han and just kind of all the things we knew about him from the movies all apparently happened in the span of like 2 or 3 days.
So you're all by yourself, huh? Guess we'll name you Han Lonesome. Like-
God. Like, oh, remember this about Han Solo?
But-
and that's
Revenge-
how this happened.
But Revenge of the Sith, unfortunately, has Anakin turn to the dark side really suddenly.
Super sudden.
Unless you consider his turn as having happened when he killed all the Tusken Raiders and he's just been a dark side guy the whole time.
Apparently, that's all it takes.
Yeah, apparently.
Might as well kill all these children.
And he and Obi-Wan continue to have like no time spent together, even though they're supposed to be brothers.
That's what I'm saying.
they
and,
tell you they're friends. That's fine.
General Grievous is a horrible villain,
Horrible.
just
It's
horrendous.
got horrendous COPD.
It's
General
it's not good.
Kenobi.
None of that stuff is good, but it has some decent action. I do feel genuine emotion when Order 66 happens.
Yeah.
I think
was
it's
rough.
overall
Dude, when
a
Kenny
fun
Mooney
movie.
gets shot out on the bridge.
Yeah.
That was sad, man.
Uh,
That was sad.
After that, I'm going to do The Last Jedi.
Okay.
I think it took a lot of risks. The casino plotline's not great.
No, that was
I don't.
garbage.
I'm not a fan of the way he handled Luke, but I respect that he tried to do something different with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I thought there was. I really liked the development for Rey and Kylo Ren. Then it's The Force Awakens, which does rely too heavily on being A New Hope again.
It's just a repeat.
But I thought that some of the new themes that they introduced in it, the new things, work really well.
Like Rathars.
No, maybe not Rathars. Kylo Ren, I think, is great as like this guy desperately trying to be Darth Vader and failing at it. I think that
like sad fanboy.
Finn, yeah, exactly. I think Finn is such a brilliant concept of the stormtrooper trying to abandon, his what he's been a part of, his legacy.
Yeah. It is pretty cool, man.
I really enjoy the Han Solo, what he's like now. It does Harrison Ford really falls back into the role, and it really does feel like an older Han Solo. It isn't like he's just like phoning it in. It really feels like this is what Han Solo would be like 30 years later if he's lost his family and stuff.
You can't watch that Chewie we're home scene without getting emotional.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Man, does Starkiller Base up though? Even if it is Ilum from the Clone Wars.
I mean, I knew I wasn't a huge fan of the Starkiller Base with General Hux just screaming into the
We are
background.
Nazis. Like we get
There's
it.
literally a scene where they're like, here was the Death Star. Here's Starkiller Base, and Starkiller Base is like 6 times bigger.
Right,
and I'm like, God damn it,
Nothing
why?
mattered. 4, 5, and 6 were just useless.
Right, like what's the point?
The Jedi are gone again.
Oh man.
After that, we got another bit of a jump to Return of the Jedi, which I really enjoy everything about that movie except for what's on Endor. I really don't enjoy the Ewoks or the battle there.
See, I love
the
that
Emperor,
stuff,
the
man.
Empire seems more inept than ever. But the Emperor is really great we finally are introduced to him, and I think he lives up to the hype as this like, and you're like, this crippled old man is the one Vader bows down to, but then he like starts pulling out Force lightning, and you're like, oh fuck!
When he's dicking around with Anakin, like, oh, I'm afraid the shield will be fully out. It's so
but
good.
You said
When
Anakin
your friends
instead
get
of
you.
Luke, but really,
I said Anakin.
You said Anakin. I can't believe he was Vader in that movie until the end.
No, he
I'm
became Anakin at the
afraid
end.
You
I said
were
until the
wrong
end.
about the characters.
Solid movie though overall. Jabba's Palace is a great intro to the movie.
Great scene.
After that, Rogue One.
Fantastic film.
Nice.
Love it as a Star Wars war movie. Maybe they could have developed the characters a little more, but I mean, I feel like that generally in war movies, all you know about the characters is where they're from, and that's kind of what they did with this one. It's a little slow too, but everything from when the Scarif base stuff happens is amazing.
Act 3 was phenomenal.
Great tragic movie. Krennic is a great new type of villain for the Star Wars movies that we hadn't seen before, and the hallway scene is unbeatable. It's just such blatant fan service, but if you really are that bothered by that type of fan service, what are you doing watching Star Wars, man?
Right. I mean, it's exactly that's an awesome point, Pat. I think the best part about Act 3 is just like every time I watch it again and again, I still get the nerd goosebumps of like it's going
full
down
on Star Wars
again, and I know what's gonna happen, and I still like get excited. Like
Also,
he's gonna do it again.
Admittedly, the Tarkin CG isn't great. And the CG on
See,
Leia.
I wasn't as bothered by the Tarkin CG.
I wasn't that bothered by it.
I know a lot of people were really offended.
I was bothered by the Leia CG.
They
that one didn't
side
look
on her
great.
shot for so
They
long.
just
Like,
let's
look,
put her in bright light, and then
it's
you can,
Leia.
Here's her mouth, and
Yeah.
her mouth is wrong.
That
It's like
all
that's
right,
not a human mouth.
I'll give you that one.
But like I said, great movie overall. Then there's A New Hope, which is, I mean, it's the original. It's fantastic. Its dialogue's a little corny, but other than that, I think the movie's pretty perfect. And then we get to Empire Strikes Back, which I have literally no complaints about. Great story, great action, great character arc for Han and Leia and Luke. All three of them getting a lot of attention and development in this movie. And Vader he was threatening in A New Hope. In Empire, he is a force to be reckoned with.
choking people out left
right,
and
he
right.
actually feels like a true villain now, versus before he's like a big scary guy.
Yeah, and the twist at the end is amazing. Obviously, everyone knows about it now,
Right, you
but
can't know.
And the good guys lose, and it hurts, but you're still hopeful at the end. With the last shot is like what Leia and Luke holding hands and looking into space, and it's like
What do
we
we do
still
now?
stand a chance. We still have faith that there's more that we can do.
Right, I think like that paired with them, like there's no dialogue, but just John Williams supplementing and shout out to John Williams and all that he's done for the Star Wars universe and the franchise. I think his music just really encapsulates, what you should be feeling, how the characters are feeling.
We talked about him a lot in the last episode of where we were talking about the movies and doing our
Me and Pat
Oscars.
both picked him.
We both talked about John Williams a lot.
That was the one that premiered Imperial March, so like,
Yeah, it was.
I feel like I could be wrong. I have to look back at history of cinema, but I feel like Empire really kind of built the sequel, like kind of thing that we have today. Like the whole like things just built like sequels selling more than original ideas, which you can argue is definitely a problem nowadays. But I feel like Star Wars was the first thing that was like, no, that's like a big thing we can do. And then you get like Back to the Future and all that, and Alien and Aliens and all that. The 80s has kind of started that sequel thing, and I think Star Wars was the first one, but I could be wrong. It was definitely one of the first.
I'll have to look into that. I feel like there's something before that, but I'm such a Star Wars nerd. Like,
You're like,
it's hard
no,
for
it's
me to
Star
think
Wars.
of anything else beside it.
All right, who's next? Who's gonna give us their ranking?
I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah, Nick looks ready.
We
I
got
look
it.
ready. All right, so I have. I agree with Pat. I'm gonna go number one. I'm gonna work my way from the top and
Sure,
work
yeah,
my
go
way
down.
down. So I agree with Pat with Empire as the first one for all the same reasons. I have nothing really new to contribute for that conversation. I actually have Rogue One though ranked second.
Wow.
I don't blame you.
I think it was close to go between my second and third choice, but I think Rogue One, just does such a good job of putting me back in a universe that, we're so many years from when the original franchise was made, and I felt watching it that I was brought back to that same time, that same area. Characters, I felt like I really appreciated the world that are around them. It was just a part of their experience, and I like that true immersion. So that's why I got Rogue One as my number two. My number three is number 6. I like Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
my top 3. I know I'm getting a glare from Pat over there in the corner, but when I don't know, man. I think there's just something magical about that movie. Going from something as crazy as Jabba's palace to teddy bears with sticks that kill stormtroopers. It's great. It's great.
Dude,
And
the one scene where the one Ewok goes up to the other one and shoves him, and he doesn't come up,
dude, that
and
was
he just
sad.
holds him.
That was
It's
so
sad.
That was
I almost,
really sad.
every time that
I
comes
feel
up,
nothing.
and I think that's like one of the true times where we also see like the man behind the curtain, as Pat brought up with the Emperor, and it's just such a concept that we just can't.
The throne room
stand away
scene is
from.
one of the most like Star Wars iconic moments of
Right.
him throwing away the lightsaber. Like, no, I'm not gonna kill you.
And I
Like,
think it's also one of the first times where we have like Vader talking in a way that's like, yeah, you know what? It's too late. I'm screwed. Like, there's nothing that can.
you
really
actually
be
start to
done.
feel like empathy. You're like, oh, this poor guy. Like, he's killed a lot of people, but he feels like he can't come
The
back.
younglings, though.
Master Skywalker, what are we going to do? All right,
That,
so
that actor has a beard now, by the way.
Does
Just
it
saying.
really?
Yeah.
Ooh. See, I still can't picture. All right,
No.
so I'm gonna.
He's still a child, but he has a beard. Is what he said.
Never grew up,
It's the
but
same
facial
height.
hair.
My fourth one's gonna be episode 4. Just because I think it was a good job of just establishing everything that we start with.
Lining up numbers. Yeah.
My fifth one, I know this is gonna cause some contention. I'm gonna say is episode 2.
God damn
I
you.
hate you.
Fifth?
You know what?
That's your fifth?
Yeah, I think it did a really good job of. I honestly, I feel the whole Star Wars story is about Skywalker and it's about
Sure.
the rise and fall of the Jedi, and I
Yeah.
feel episode 2 really ushers in just a new.
Count Dooku sucks.
Christopher Lee's a great man. Count Dooku can suck it. Like,
But I think that gave us such an insight upon how the dialogue between the Sith and the Jedi are with the interrogation
It did in
scene.
Clone Wars, maybe,
I
but
hate
not
the
in.
interrogation scene
Interrogation
where he's
scenes-
spinning around and
But that's
I would
when we
never
learned
join you,
how
Dooku.
corrupt
Like,
things really are. Like, you watch episode 1, you think, oh wow, everything is fine. There's no problems. How do you get?
I didn't
from-
feel that in episode 1.
Well,
the techno union things.
the techno union and the banking.
The
clan.
banking clan. Like, come on. Like, it's just. I respect your opinion, but I really don't.
Nobody does. Never coming out of this pack.
What's after Attack of the Clones?
I have episode 3. Episode 3.
Have you said A New Hope yet?
I did. I said
Yeah,
it.
it
Oh, okay,
was
okay.
like
He
number
said
4.
4. All right, okay, okay.
Oh.
I just like the way Nick was saying. He's like, I got episode 3, guy. And then I think Maloney started saying something. He's like, just let me live.
I was
just in the
afraid of my
corner.
list, but this is like you're padding it, like lowering the blow. Like, all
Maloney
right.
just portal. All right, so I got 3 listed where it's at. I still think overall, I mean, I love the battle scenes in 3. I thought Order 66, that was remarkable. But I also felt like a lot of it was like, yeah, I mean, we kind of figured this was going to happen. I mean, the only thing that really kind of surprised me was how, like, the Emperor, like, the whole I am the Senate scene, that was one of the few, like, oh my god, like, this is, like, something different that I was not expecting. And even like fighting Yoda, that was cool.
I did like that. That is a cool scene.
I mean, like some of it was really trollsy when he's like pretty much just like, and he's like,
he laughs himself to exhaustion. He's like, and he like falls.
Falls. Like it was like, all right, this. I mean, it's
Ian
kind of
McDermott
funky.
just showed up like high, like, all right, let's go, guys. Like,
Right, and so I know like episode 2 gets a lot of crap for the love scenes. I agree. I think they went a little bit overboard. The stupid pear scene, dumb. But I think like establishing what your characters are feeling, I think is such an important part. And the reason why 3 is good is because they didn't have to go through that.
you ever go on a date with somebody and you're like, yeah, politically, I think a dictatorship would be the best thing, and you're like, man, I really want to have sex with you now. Like,
Yeah.
So let's make this a mutual relationship. So then below 3, I'm going to put the Clone Wars. I felt the reason why I have it as high on my list, even though it's more low mid-range, is because I think it really springboards into the series, which I'm a huge fan of. I loved where Clone Wars went and kind of opened up the Star Wars world to the possibility of having animated shows. I thought that was a nice jump in a different direction. Yes, some of the earlier episodes were definitely made for children, but the later episodes, as time went on, really opened up the lore of the franchise and opened up.
Asajj Ventress is cool in that.
Yeah,
In that movie.
and I think we get some really interesting interactions between the Jedi, which is something that is one of the reasons why I like 2 a lot, is because you see how the
fleshes
Jedi
it
are.
out.
Yeah, it fleshes that out more. So that's what I got there. Below that would be episode 1. I think it was pretty entertaining. I'm not going to put it super low on my list. I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was, all right, good movie.
Okay.
I thought I got a big sigh from Maloney. So I think the reason why I still have it as high as I do is because every time I watch it, I still like get a sense of when I watched it as a kid. So it's extremely biased that I have it this high, but I think
nostalgia's
it's a great time. Yeah.
Okay.
Going below that, I'm going to put episode 8, Last Jedi. There were a lot of things that I think Last Jedi did that were good. I liked the Yoda and the tree scene, fantastic. I don't think that I think that was really did a good job for making us realize we still don't really know what the Force is, even though we're like 8 movies deep. And
I couldn't believe that scene when I saw it. I was like, this is amazing.
Yes, I think that's what really captivated my love of that movie. The whole casino scene, garbage. I think that was trash.
I didn't really know warmongering was bad until he put it like that, and I was like, you know what? Maybe
Like,
profiting
how?
off death
Like,
is bad.
how?
Like,
What I thought was really really sad was I thought I liked Rose's sister's character better, and I only saw her for 20 seconds on screen before she committed suicide with her ship and saved the
Blew up the
resistance
dreadnought,
movement.
yeah.
And it's like I wish I would have known more about her than actual Rose, because I just had no connection to that character.
she doesn't grow.
She does
Rose
not
is
grow at
Rose,
all.
and she's right all the time, and
Right, and even the one time, it's just a lot of kind of haphazard character development, which I think makes that movie weak. Moving on to why I think movies are weak, I think episode 7, Force Awakens, I think is weak because it's not really experimenting with many new things.
wait, is this?
Yeah. I think I give 8 credit for at least trying something new, whereas I feel 7 was I'm gonna play this game as safe as I possibly can, and I think you can't do Star Wars without trying something new. That's what makes it Star Wars is something you get something different every time. And granted, there were things that were cool from episode Force Awakens. I appreciate it, but at the same time, I felt it was very 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 similar to the same plot we've seen rehashed twice in original franchise and almost one time in the prequel. So it's like this is our 4th attempt at a similar concept. So for that reason, I'm going to put Solo in dead last. I thought that I'm all for the cliche. That's why I'm a Star Wars fan, but I mean, do we need everything about Han Solo to happen? That the only things we know about Han Solo happens to happen in this movie?
Everybody remembers those dice, right?
Oh my god!
No, I've never seen those before in my life. I don't remember them at all.
Right, even the relationship between Han and Lando is not one that I believe is a relationship that would sustain into episode 5 of how
It doesn't mix as well.
It doesn't make much sense to me. I'm left kind of questioning.
They should have more history together.
Right,
Well, they probably do because they were planning more movies.
They were or they are?
They were.
Oh,
But
okay.
then probably not going to happen now that Solo didn't do well
I
at
mean,
the box
poor
office.
Donald Glover, because he really did a good Lando. You have to
If
give
you're
him
gonna
that.
do a job, do it right the
I
first
thought the other
time.
actor did a decent young Solo.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
okay.
if out of anybody, if anyone's going to play him, I thought he did a decent job.
I
Yeah.
have no problem with the actors. I thought they did a good job. I just think like the whole story about how they were used, I thought was kind of
Okay.
sloppy. But that's my list.
All right, that's an interesting list. Joe, you want to go next?
Sure, yeah, mine's gonna be
We're
short
at
and
58 minutes, by the
sweet.
way.
Yes.
I figured.
Oh, shit.
I'd go over now.
Okay. Hold on, I hit it on my phone. Okay. So I'll start with the top of my list. My number one is Rogue One, actually.
Wow.
Because
Wait.
I mean, I don't think I'm as big of a Star Wars fan as anybody else at this table, but going and seeing Rogue One was amazing to me. I mean, it was just a great Star Wars movie. It put me back in the setting, like Nick said.
I saw that in theaters 5 times.
Oh, yeah? I know I saw it a couple times at least.
I enjoyed that movie from one of the front rows where my neck hurt, but it was still such a ride.
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing about that movie was just all those characters, like, they knew what they were getting into, I felt like, and they still did it anyway. And it's just a cool movie. So then number 2, I've got Empire Strikes Back. Number 3, Return of the Jedi. 4, A New Hope. 5, Force Awakens. 6, Last Jedi. 7, Phantom Menace. 8, Revenge of the Sith. And then 10, Attack of Clones, and 11, Solo. I haven't seen Solo.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know if I'm going to,
Okay.
so
It deserves
yeah.
to be there. It's okay.
Did you include the Clone Wars animated movie?
Well,
I did
guess-
not.
guess
No.
you put that under that then, yeah. Huh. So you put Phantom Menace as the highest prequel there, huh?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Interesting.
because I mean, I really, as far as that goes, I just really liked a lot of the characters in it. Like I loved Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul. I mean, I just thought they were really cool characters that I would have liked to see more in the future. But
That's why you watch Clone Wars.
Like a real fan.
someone else go.
All right.
What the fuck?
So I'm gonna go up from the bottom, and as I'm sitting here, it's still not cemented, but we're gonna see what happens as I go.
I hate you.
I know, me too, me too.
Plastic list.
Number 11 is the Clone Wars because I watched that movie once. I haven't watched the show, and I honestly don't remember it at all. So I saw it once. I have no interest in seeing it again. That'll be 11. 10 will be Phantom Menace. It's so boring, and you could be a bad movie, but don't be boring. Like there's some terrible
How
stuff.
could
in
you
it.
be bored in that movie?
How could you not?
Because there's an hour on Coruscant where it's just political
Trade.
bullshit.
It's just trade.
I mean, the voice acting alone is fantastic just to laugh at for comedic value.
No.
You're not.
When Pat and I were watching this movie, there was a point where he was just like, how is this movie still going on? And you feel it drag. It's only like 2 hours or so. And you're just like, end. Just get to Duel of the
I
Fates
still think
already.
it's better than Attack of the Clones. though.
Number 9 is Attack of the Clones. Partially because of nostalgia, partially because memes. I don't know. I enjoy that movie even though I know it's a steaming pile of garbage. It is.
Mapunky.
It's poodoo, all right? It's just not...
that is not poodoo.
the love is terrible. You're like, oh, clones, this will be cool, and then you get like 5 minutes at the end.
The romance is kind of problematic too, where he's like, I've been in love with you since I was 9 years old, and I only Jar Jar's like, hey Annie, and he's like, why doesn't she notice me, Jar Jar? And Jar Jar's like, I just wanted to talk to you. I said hello.
A great scene. It's like a Seinfeld episode.
She
all
doesn't
in Star
even
Wars.
care, Jar Jar.
She knew you like for 3 days when you were 9, and you're 19 now, bud.
All right, well, let's give him Supreme. All right.
No. Number 8 is Solo. We talked about kind of like the over-explaining, and I was amazed. This movie, I think the budget was $250 million, and they made about the budget was $200 million. They made $250 million. By box office standards, it was a flop. It was a flopping Star Wars
By
movie.
any standards, it was a flop.
Like, I
Fuck
feel
you,
like it
Nick.
doesn't deserve to flop. It's still
Every
a good
time
movie.
I've talked to you about this movie, you're like, yeah, it was fine. It's
I mean,
totally
it
fine.
was-
and
it
then
was-
you go,
it was-
it's the worst Star Wars.
It was good. Like, I'm not gonna say like it was garbage. Like,
Well-
it's still a Star Wars movie, but it's like
Yeah, but a lot of the
bottom
prequels
the-
are garbage,
the
Nick.
bell of the ball.
All right, above Solo is Revenge of the Sith. We talked about how like there is some good stuff there, and again, memes. There's so many memes in there, and the fight at the end on Mustafar is enjoyable. There's some weird points like when they're spinning the lightsabers like children. That's funny. But other points are cool. The high ground thing, it still makes no sense. So this is where I'm gonna start to get some. I feel like Pat's gonna physically assault me by the end of this list, but he accepted Nick's list. Okay, so let's see how.
Give
it
him a
goes.
little taste, Pat.
Number 6 on my list is A New Hope. I felt like it was a fun movie, and I respect what it did. I do have a different ranking, the critics ranking, where I put A New Hope much higher. In fact, number 2. But for me personally, the movie's fun, but it just doesn't pull me in as much as I thought it was upon the rewatch. So that's it. 6. 5 is Return of the Jedi. I love.
Maloney's like, New Hope was just too original Star Wars.
No, it's just like
it's just too quintessential to the story, so that's why I'm putting it lower.
the tone of it. It's just I don't know. It doesn't speak to me as much. I put Return of the Jedi at 5. Everybody loves Jabba's. The whole start of that is just amazing, and we talked about the Emperor and the Ewoks are silly, but they're still fun. Like
Are they?
Yeah, they're fun. Oh.
Remember when they made C-3PO a practical deity?
Luke, Darth Vader. Number 4 is Rogue One. Like there's some good stuff there, but like Pat was saying, like the character stuff, could have done a little bit more with it. But the ending scene is when they take the Star Destroyer and put it into another Star Destroyer. Oh man, good stuff.
No, it was a hammerhead vessel into the.
Well, it shoved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just scraping and oh man, so good. Then we get number 3, The Force Awakens. This movie, while not having the most original plot, is a fun ride. The music is fantastic, and the characters are unbelievable. I love all the characters. Poe is amazing the first time he's on screen. And when he gets in front of Kylo Ren, who talks first? Is it me or you? Like, it's just like...
You love Maz?
Maz is okay. I'm not against Maz. Like, when
stop
Kylo
staring
Ren
at
shows
her
up
eyes.
and Poe shoots him and he pauses it, that's such a cool, like, moment in Star Wars. And
It does have Force moves in that come right out of, like, Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Which
it's
I
some
appreciate.
awesome stuff.
You love
And
Captain Phasma?
you're really interested. Like, who is this Rey girl?
Is she your
Like,
favorite? Yeah.
Her book was good.
There's bad
The Phasma
stuff.
book.
Yeah, but like, I feel okay.
Delilah Dawson did a good job with her.
I'm gonna preempt
1/4 portion.
Simon Pegg, man. You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm feeling spicy today. Number 2, Empire Strikes Back. I'm gonna put that at number 2. It's an amazing film. I love it.
Okay.
I really enjoy it.
All right,
Did you forget what I haven't said yet?
go on.
Number 1 is The Last Jedi. There are some terrible, terrible things in that movie.
Last Jedi above Rogue One.
Last Jedi has terrible, terrible things. The casino scene is terrible. I think Holdo is the worst Star Wars character. She's insufferable on
she's
screen.
one of the best things that happened to that movie.
I hate her. I hate everything about that
She
character.
literally just spends the whole time like, I don't need to tell you anything. I'm totally in agreement with Nick. She's like, I'm in charge.
She's in
I
charge.
don't need to explain myself to this pilot.
But then, like, when he starts the coup, and then like he gets, like Leia shoots him and he's passed out, and they're like, oh, he's a fun kid. Like he overthrew. What are you doing? Like,
Because she was set up in the Princess Leia of Alderaan book as being free-spirited.
I'm supposed to care about this character. Like the whole time, you feel like she's supposed to be evil, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, she's making such a
I never
noble
felt that.
sacrifice.
No, I felt like
she's
Poe was
responsible
being a
adult.
whiny.
And then they're like, oh, Holdo was more interested in preserving the light than giving into the hate, and then giving into like death and like sacrifice. And then she sacrifices herself. But it's like, what's the theme here? What are you going for with her?
So you're saying that the movie is inconsistent with its tone and doesn't deserve to be number 1.
That being said, the tone and the messaging from all of the Luke stuff is my favorite Star Wars.
Yeah,
stuff.
warmongering so bad.
No, I already talked about that. The Luke stuff, the message about failure and redemption and how he confronts Kylo Ren. Everything about that I love. And when you get Kylo and Rey,
Luke is a failure who failed at everything he wanted to do,
but he didn't.
And the original trilogy didn't matter.
No, see, look, you don't get a lot of it. But how old is Luke when he goes to almost kill Kylo? Like he's already pretty old, so he's
in his like 40s.
Yeah,
he had gray hair in that scene.
He's like 40s
Well,
or 50s.
how old was Kylo Ren in that scene? Maybe like 14, 15?
No, Kylo Ren was in his 20s.
So in that scene. So how old is Kylo Ren in like The Last Jedi?
Also like 20s, late 20s.
So
maybe
this
early
is
30s.
near the end of Luke's life. For most of Luke's life,
It is the end of Luke's life.
Yeah. So for most
He's
of
only
Luke's
in
life,
his 60s.
he was a success. So for the first 50
No,
years of his
he
life,
wasn't a success.
he didn't go to kill him until
He
he,
didn't
was at
manage
least
to
55.
destroy the Empire. His whole Jedi Order fell apart.
right.
His only main goal, which was to make sure his nephew didn't turn to the dark side and was guided well, failed.
He didn't even complete his full training that Yoda wanted to accomplish with him. He got like
That's
like,
a
the
critique I
crash
have
course
of
at the
Empire.
end.
Right? Of like he goes trains in Yoda for like 3 hours. Like how long is he there?
I don't know. He looked pretty
But-
stinky towards the end.
No,
of it.
because they said they had weird force time in that one. Time was passing differently on Dagobah, which I explained to you, but you don't remember things.
That's some ass backwards explaining to just
They
make up
said
for
things in the movie.
No.
They hinted at it in the actual movie.
No, they had a line and people twisted it. Look,
Carabash.
Sure thing, Bart.
the number one thing I'm gonna say is that Star Wars is so tied to nostalgia, and I feel like the original movies are good, but I feel like everything that's come out since then does not get enough credit as it deserves because it's put under this microscope of this gigantic monolith of the original trilogy, and it's never
called
going to be good enough.
Standards.
No, it's not. It's an impossible
You
standard.
like Attack of the Clones.
You
Hey,
want
I don't have Last Jedi.
you
as
want
one,
Star
Pat.
Wars again.
We can agree with
you
that.
want Star
Yeah.
Wars again, and you're never going to get it again. You're never going to get new Star Wars again. That will never happen.
Sure it will.
Mando.
In the animated series, in Mandalorian
No,
and
because
stuff. I'm enjoying all those.
it's building off of it, and you're always going to have these little critiques where with the.
I think you're trying to input your own impressions onto us.
You've taken pay and commission.
Stop projecting.
I just feel
Brian.
like people need to let up a little bit and just watch the movie as a movie. It's Star Wars, yes, but if you actually like, I feel like The Last Jedi was one of the only Star Wars movies
there's-
that had a message that
I
connected
get that,
with
but
me.
there's just an entire portion of that movie that's not good at all.
You're right, yeah. No,
Like
look,
a good chunk of
my
like an
critics
hour
ranking
of that film.
My critics ranking, Last Jedi is not in the top 3. All right, like.
Because it does not deserve to be.
No,
top
it doesn't. It's objectively, this movie isn't amazing. It
How
has amazing moments.
uncharacteristic you
But for me personally,
taken Force Awakens below The Last Jedi.
I do think critically, The Last Jedi was better than Force Awakens because it at least was original. It might have messed up
Yeah,
some
I
stuff,
did
but
too.
they tried something new. They tried.
But I think if you're making your list ranked upon like what it is to make the Star Wars vision and the purpose of it, I think you're forced to put Force Awakens over Last Jedi then.
Why?
Because that's the exact rehash of everything that they tried to accomplish in like the original trilogy.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm ready for
But
something
they're
new.
like telling you, they're like feeding it to you.
Also, I won't get into it, but the stuff that happens in Rise of Skywalker that changes my view of Last Jedi. But
I thought we weren't including that.
it included my view.
I thought a movie stands on its own, Brian.
I didn't say that. Endgame's my favorite movie ever. That movie's terrible if it's the first Marvel movie you see. All right, this is our longest episode by far, and this is a fun ride. I really enjoyed this. This was good.
It was all right. It was all right till we heard
Pat
your list.
suffered through these lists.
Oh no.
I think we can, Pat and I both agree that your list is shit.
Yours is too. It's terrible. You did alphabet
this is
soup with yours.
I love this. I love. Well, I literally started off the episode like, man, people get too emotional, and then all of us except for Joe, we're like getting pissed off at each other, while Joe just sits there like,
Mom and Dad, no.
This is gonna be like, I know that we say this for every episode, but Tom is gonna be so mad because there's gonna be the most shouting, the most sound
it's the longest
problems,
one with lots
and-
of I don't know. That's at the end of the day, that's Star Wars. A lot of fighting and emotional stuff, but we all love it. You know, it's all good. Maybe not Solo, right?
fuck you.
All right, so it's 2020 now. Next week we're gonna have a fun episode for. I don't know when next. It might be
it's
next
almost
2 weeks.
noon,
Might be next
Brian.
week.
It's almost noon.
I don't know.
20.
So it's gonna come out. We're gonna continue through this decade, forever and ever. We'll get Nick back on at some point.
Thank you. It's a pleasure
We'll also
coming on.
do more Star Wars episodes at some point in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe not anytime soon, but
Maybe when they make a
eventually.
big announcement of what's coming next and all that.
Very cool.
And speaking of what's coming next, Tom, what's our next topic?
Next week, we're going to discuss how The Last Jedi was actually a terrible movie.
All right. We're all clear, Nick. Let's blow this thing and head home.
Now we're gonna hit pause.